We are so close to the launch of Black Ops 4 globally that we can probably taste it. I know you guys are probably gearing up and itching to get jumping into multiplayer, zombies, or blackout, whatever your poison may be here within Black Ops 4, but as these final hours of waiting dwindled down, I wanted to give you guys a little heads up and give you guys some tips and tricks jumping right into Black Ops 4 that as soon as you go in, you can end up actually taking advantage of this and doing the best that you can right out of the gate. So thanks to my friends at Call of Duty and Activision, I ended up actually getting a little extra time plus what we ended up doing at a review event as of last week. I feel that I have adequate enough time on my hands to recommend you guys what you should best use your unlock token for whenever you immediately jump into Black Ops 4. So for those of you guys that are not aware, if you guys took part in the beta at all, you logged 1 hour, you logged 4 days played out of the 2 weekends, doesn't matter, you're gonna be able to get an unlock token as soon as you log in and as soon as you end up booting up Black Ops 4 and going into multiplayer. Now, this is where we're gonna be breaking it down here for you guys because I do have on deck 4 to 6 items that I would definitely suggest unlocking here in terms of your multiplayer experience, getting a jump up on everybody perhaps and getting a very strong start right out of the gate. So I'm gonna be breaking those down here for you guys, giving the best recommendations here on what to unlock, and if you feel like anything else should be added in, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But that said, let's just jump right into it. So a lot of what you'll end up seeing, it comes down to weaponry. That is stuff that of course is able to be unlocked, unlike the beta in which we had a certain smaller subset of the ranking and what everything was unlocked at. It's kind of been spread out more now. The accurate ranking system is in place, and so therefore things may be pulled further apart than that of what you unlocked them with in the beta. And some may even have unlock levels that are completely different than that of what they were in the beta. So the big key focus to kind of set the parameters here and as to the guidelines of how I'm thinking about this with these recommendations comes down to sheer effectiveness of the weapons and the items that we'll be talking about here with this, and also the unlock ranks in which they are attainable. Because if you end up unlocking something that is, say, level 13, that's not really all the greatest use of an unlock token. You usually want to do that and get that out of the way for the higher tier items so that you can use the best stuff as soon as possible, or theoretically. So first weapon we'll talk about here in terms of what to use your unlock token on is the Vapor XKG, or VAPR XKG. That is a standard unlock at level 37. Now the reason in which I bring up the Vapor is going to follow very similar to the next weapon we talk about, is the fact that it is a very mobile and very well-versed rifle within Black Ops 4. It is a weapon that you can end up taking into a close quarters gunfight. Even though it's an assault rifle classified weapon, it can still do some damage up close and personal, but at range, it can do some damage as well as tackling the properties that it's really geared towards with those mid-range engagements. As such, I think this is going to be a weapon that you end up seeing a lot of during Black Ops 4. It might not be one that catches on immediately, but I feel like it's going to be one of those weapons that will be consistently good throughout the year. Now, of course, it is still very early on to tell. We're subject to patches, updates, and tuning for weapons all throughout the coming months, but that is something that off the initial base game playtime that I've had, it definitely seems to be a weapon that is formidable. But the next weapon we'll talk about in terms of unlocking is another assault rifle, that being the Maddox Rfb. Now, this is another higher tier assault rifle and another one that very similarly follows the properties and attributes that make the Vapor an absolute beast of a weapon. This is a standard unlock of level 49, so you're very close to being that top rank without prestiging, and then if you do end up prestiging, well, then you end up losing it if you don't use the unlock token on that just a few levels later. So the Maddox is again another weapon that close quarters can absolutely shred, but mid-range I think it's my pick for the best weapon in the game, and you throw that in with the fire rate, the damage that it has, and also they can still pack a punch over range, and you got yourself an all-around great weapon. If you've been up on the channel here for a decent bit of time, or at least a few months now, you've probably seen that even from the beta footage we've put up here on the channel, the thing absolutely shreds. It was one of my favorite weapons within the beta. I grinded it out so that I could end up getting this as soon as possible, but now with the option to have an unlock token, you can skip that whole grind process and unlock it immediately, to which it's definitely a great choice to do so. And the next classification of weapon we'll go into is the tactical rifles, and truth be told, I think we're gonna skip the SMGs as for what you should unlock, unless you're a super hardcore SMG player, but from my vantage point, we can skip the SMGs because things like the SOG 9mm, Cordite, Spitfire, they're good, sure, but I find that the GKS and the MX9 are actually the most well-rounded of the SMGs, and when you take a look at just when you unlock them, the MX9 is a default SMG first thing, and the GKS is available at level 13, so you'll be able to unlock those with ease whenever you jump into either multiplayer initially or even after every single prestige. So those to me just seem to be sort of oversights as to why we can kind of glance over the SMGs LMG category. But the other ones we want to talk about here today with this deal with the tactical rifles, because these are where we end up seeing some really, really good options for gameplay. Now, there are two solid choices, the ABR-223 and the Swordfish, the ABR being unlockable at level 34, and the Swordfish being that final unlock of level 55. Now, both I'd simply go for just because of their operator mods, because they're nuts. So the ABR has an operator mod of the repeater, which allows you to go full auto with it if you hold down the trigger. Now, it's not an immediate thing, it's gradual, meaning that you won't have that full auto spray as soon as you lay on the trigger, but roughly about 2 to 3 seconds of holding that trigger down, you go from one burst to full auto, and it will progressively get faster. So you have a slight delay, very minimal delay, then no delay at all between bursts. If you end up equipping this, it will shred through anyone, and I mean anyone. The ABR, in terms of preliminary testing, seems to be one of the most powerful weapons out there because it is that burst, and it is a rifle that naturally has a burst delay, so it kind of compensates for itself. And when you take out one of the biggest hindrances of the weapon, that is that burst delay, well, you just have a powerhouse. Now, as for the other weapon here that we'd probably go for, that being the Swordfish, I can't tell immediately, but I played with this a little bit on LAN at our review event, and it felt like it was not even a full 2 burst. So with that considered, and of course maybe some latency issues, it might end up being a 2 burst, but regardless, with the operator mod of the Penta burst, that's gonna allow for it to burst more rounds in a single burst, which then in turn makes it a 1 burst kill almost every time if you're accurate with this, which is absurd. That operator mod is definitely going to be worth those extra slots you have to allot for not only the wild card of operator mods, but also then the spots that you have to take up, it being, I think, for the single operator mod, 3 of your pick 10 positions. It is going to absolutely dominate, and again, the thing that comes down with both of these, they're killer weapons, but the thing that really makes them absolute insane choices for your class setup really come down to the operator mods, because they do help so much. There are other operator mods within Black Ops 4 that don't do as much, but these two are definitely not of that stature. They definitely help your weapon out and your class overall. So both are great weapons, but you want to get them ranked up as soon as possible so you can take advantage of those operator mods, and depending on how fast you can do it, maybe still slap some of the newbies around. But the point being, if you were to unlock these, do them not only for one, the rank that you help get out of the way, but also the operator mods that you can rank up ASAP. Outside of those weapons, well, it kind of comes down to preference, but recommendations aside, those are the big 4 for weaponry that I would definitely suggest. When you take a look at it, of course, there are still a lot of other weapons. You still have your LMGs, you still have your snipers, you still have your shotguns, your pistols, you name it, but the big thing with those ones are the LMGs are primarily pretty even kill from what I've used of these early on, and the Titan is that base default LMG, and it's still honestly a great competitor compared to the other ones. The Paladin HP50 is the default standard sniper rifle. I think that is probably going to be the most used sniper out of all of them. The Outlaw and the SDM are both new snipers that are pretty solid in their own right, but I'd still prefer the Paladin, and the Koshka is one that seems more so like a slightly nerfed ballista if I'm doing a comparison off the top of my head. So the Paladin definitely is one you don't need to rank up, and I still think will be one of the best ones out there. Your pistols and shotguns as secondaries probably aren't the best, and so that concludes the weapon-based unlocks here that we'll talk about. Now, the final 2 we're kind of just gonna breeze through because they are score streaks actually, because those are still locked behind ranking as well. These are more so just streaks that if you can end up getting them, they're definitely gonna help you out in terms of the amount of kills you get, and subsequently the amount of score and XP you'll end up getting as well. So just to kind of breeze through those being the Strike Team and the Strafe Run. Now, unlike how you were to check the weapon listing within Create a Class, it's not sequential order in which everything is unlocked at. The Strike Team is actually something that is available at level 39, and the Strafe Run is available at level 45. So they're both rather up there in terms of ranking, and so even after you prestige, you'll have a little bit of time to end up ranking up before unlocking those once again. But again, these come down to just simply how you play the game and getting you more so in-game score than anything else. Weaponry, I'd still prefer over Scorestreaks, but being that it is a rank-based unlock thing, I wanted to throw 2 of these in here because from the beta and also a little bit of a feel from early gameplay here, it did feel like there was a slight buff to both of these, and you have nothing else to spend your unlock token on. It's not a bad choice if you want to spend it on a streak. That said, rounding it out, big four here to me are definitely the Maddox Rfb, the Vapor XKG, the ABR 223, as well as the Swordfish. Those to me are four of the best weapons that you can use your unlock token here on for this. And again, coming down to just variable differences, those rifles that we talked about are more so the versatile weapons of Black Ops 4, and then those tactical rifles have some pretty wicked operator mods. So comes down to preference after those choices, what you want to do of those. Of course, you only have one, so you get a 25% pool in terms of whichever of those four you want to go for, if you want to go for those at all. That said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. So hopefully this helped you out in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully it gives you a leg up in the competition when you immediately jump into Black Ops 4 multiplayer, and hopefully you can end up ranking it up and taking advantage of the full array of what the weapon has to offer. If you guys have anything else you'd like to add to this list, of course, again, let me know in the comment section down below, and might be able to help out some people as well looking for other things if you're not really a fan of those weapons or those streaks that we mentioned. But want to throw those out here because, again, a little bit of playtime under my belt, it felt like those ones were very valid choices and very valid options to unlock first. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. We're gonna be killing it with the content here with Black Ops 4, multiplayer, blackout, zombies, you name it. We got you covered with absolutely everything, and we're gonna be crushing it with the guides here in the upcoming days. So if you wanna stay up to date and get all the best tips, tricks, information, all that good stuff, we got you covered here on the channel. Make sure that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow over on Twitter and Instagram as well, a little more active over there and practically live on Twitter, so there's links are in the description below. Gonna be doing a lot of streaming on Twitch, I think, here in the upcoming days to weeks as well, so Twitch link will be down there in the description for you guys to check out as well. But all that said and out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.